Hey everybody, it's me, Mr. XStitch, and I'm back with a video. Hallelujah! It has been forever. So much to talk about. Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm sorry I've been absent from YouTube for a long time. I've got a fantastic excuse. Look at this! That's right, Annie Grace, my second daughter, was born on the 23rd of May and is now 5 and a bit weeks old. Just started to smile, settling in nicely, mother, daughter doing well, big sister adapting quite nicely while still being a rebellious 2-year-old. Said how much I enjoy being a dad before, and having 2 children, I'm getting a bit of an emotional stretch. 2 different directions now. And all of a sudden, Flora, she's only like 2 and 2 months, but she seems so grown up and so mature. And it's quite hard, it's quite tricky to remember that she's just a toddler, you know. But Annie's sweet, still a little bit floppy, but now she started smiling and that starts to make it all worthwhile. So it's so much fun. So good the second time around. Really glad that I get to be here with my wife and just be really involved, you know. But there are consequences, and one of the consequences is my personal capacity to do things. And yes, indeed, I'm afraid YouTube is probably one of those things that's suffering the most. I remember this the last time when Flora was born, but around day 3 of Annie being around, I have this like doolally day where I just can't think straight and mostly spend the day like that. And it's almost like my brain is adapting, or my ability to cope with all this stuff is shifting and changing around me. And now I know I still have the same amount of capacity, but some of it's redirected, and it's interesting to see what feels important. One thing that's really strange is my interest in Instagram has pretty much evaporated overnight. And I'm very grateful because I've got an editor-in-chief of my website, and she also runs my Instagram. So it still ticks over quite nicely, but I keep looking at it and just having like very little interest in it. And it's the same with Facebook as well, just scrolling endlessly through stories that people have written which may or may not be an accurate representation of themselves doesn't really tickle my interest anymore. I'd much rather spend time staring into my baby's face and watching as she adapts to the whole concept of existence than I would seeing whatever fake version of themselves people are putting out there. So yeah, it's just weird. And then there's capacity, you know, then there's the laws of time and space and my ability to make the things I want to make and do the things I want to do and still have time with my family without forsaking everything or losing my mind. So what I thought I'd do with this video, it's somewhere between a floss tube and a boss tube. I just thought I'd talk about what I've been up to, talk about what I'm learning and what I'm understanding, and just try and divvy it all into something that doesn't take forever, but maybe go and get yourself a cup of coffee because we might be here a little while. And for certain audience members, this might not be the most exciting of YouTube videos. That's just what you get with me, really, isn't it? Sometimes I'll be excited. Somewhere down the line, when all of my other plans have kicked into gear and I have lots of people helping me, my YouTube videos are going to be amazing. But for now, this is as good as you get. So let's crack on. I've had some exciting adventures in the real world since Annie was born. A couple of weeks ago, I went to the MAC in Birmingham, where they've got a Home of Metal exhibition, which is basically looking at heavy metal. There's in particular in relation to Black Sabbath, who were a band that started in Birmingham. And it's weird, Birmingham, Sheffield, really some of the places where heavy metal first kind of came to fruition, certainly in the UK. And so it's great to have an exhibition that celebrates their success. And you know, I used to be into kind of Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith and stuff when I was younger. Went to an Iron Maiden and Anthrax concert once and couldn't hear properly for 3 days afterwards, so that was a result. But the main reason I went down there was to see an exhibition by a guy called Venom. Ben is a quilter who makes quilts out of heavy metal t-shirts. Now, I've known Ben for quite a few years. I exhibited some of his work myself in 2011, and so I couldn't miss the opportunity to travel about an hour down the road to go and see his work, and I was so glad I did. I got to meet Ben, we got to hang out, have lunch together. It was great to have a chat and just talk around the houses and meet the guy in person, and then to see some more of his quilts in action. Look at this picture. That quilt in the background of that picture of us 2 fine devils is 14 feet by 12 feet. It is huge. It is amazing. Ben hasn't been able to show it in very many places because he hasn't had wall space big enough, but thanks to the Mac and their massive airy galleries, he was able to show it, and it's such a show-stopping piece. The details in it, all kinds of t-shirts from all kinds of bands, and that's the same throughout all of his work. I've seen his work evolve over, I don't know, 8 or 9 years now, and there's some real sophistication going on with his choices of elements and patterns and the stories he tells and all those sorts of things. And so it was great to not only see the work, have a look at it up close, but also then to chat to Ben about his process and what drives him. And then we talked about like heavy metal, and he's got a 1-year-old, so we talked about parenting, as you do. But that was really cool. I'd really enjoy it. I believe the exhibition is on until the end of September, so if you're in the Midlands in the UK, definitely go and see it. I did a review about it on the Mr. XStitch site, so I'll post a link up there. Then just the other weekend, I was at the Birmingham NEC for the Creative Craft Show, where I got to spend a bit of time in a sort of, I want to call it an enclave, but I'm sure that's not the right word. I'm a Search Press author. My amazing book, The Mr. XStitch Guide to Cross Stitch, is published by Search Press. They're a fantastic craft book company covering all kinds of crafts and arts and stuff like that. They produce about 60 independent titles a year, as well as enabling a lot more books to get published over here in the UK. Got a lot of time for them. I really do enjoy them. At the show we had this space where there were 4 corners, and in those corners were authors who were selling their bits and pieces and stuff like that. So I got to hang out with Jennifer Taylor, Helen Rhiannon, Corinne Lapierre and Sarah Ditchfield over the course of the weekend, all of whom have got different skill sets, and it was absolutely lovely to spend time with them. I do enjoy these shows. You get to talk to people, you get to meet the fans. There was one lady who'd seen me on YouTube, and that was really good fun, and just sit down and do a bit of cross stitching with them, have a bit of banter and all those sorts of things. I even brought my super cool cardboard stereo with me, which I'd bought a few years ago, and it's the first time I got to air it, and so that thing's a really cool piece of kit that I was really pleased to be able to get out. And yeah, it was just a lovely time. I never get tired of those shows. They can, when it's 4 days long of standing around talking to people, it can be a bit taxing, but as I often say, it's quite hard to complain when you're like, yeah, I'm really tired from spending a lot of time talking to people who think I'm really great. So I'm not going to complain. I've had loads of shit jobs in my life, and to spend time talking to people, selling a few magazines, chatting to people who've bought the book, who've seen the magazine, teaching people to do cross stitch, they can try it. Absolute blessing. So that's been really great. In terms of future shows, I think I'm probably going to be at the NEC in November when there's a sort of Christmas themed show, and I'm also doing an exciting project at the Handmade Fair, which is going to be at Hampton Court in September. I'll try and tell you more about that as we go on. And then the next thing that happened, amazingly, a week after Annie was born, I managed to get issue 8 of XStitch Magazine out, the Munchies. The last video I posted on YouTube was a promo video that I hastily managed to get together. Really pleased with that issue. It came together really nicely. I was really happy with it. We had something like 17 different designs based on food, pizza, burgers, thankfully a tomato and a pear, so it wasn't entirely like unhealthy, but it was a great mix, and we had some great designers, and I love some of the people and some of the people I'm finding, and their approaches to the art form of cross stitch are amazing. You know, people like Tom Katsumi, Matthew Spear, Lord Libidan, Maria Bolmini. There are so many people who just take an interesting approach, and I love it. We issue these themes, they come back with these ideas, they always make me smile. I'm now starting to work on issue 9, which will come out in September, and the theme is Orient, and already I'm like overflowing with designs for that, so that should be a really good issue. I was very grateful that my mother-in-law came down and stayed with us for a week, so that actually gave me the capacity to crack through and get the magazine done. But yeah, I mean, I'm really pleased with it. If you haven't bought it, click on the link, go and visit, subscribe to the magazine, sign up to my XStitch Magazine newsletter. You'll get a 20% discount code with your first email that you get from us. It's irresistible. Do that, buy the motherload, then you'll have the collection of magazines that change the face of cross stitch forever. Just do it. I would, but I've already got them. So anyway, that's been really good. Looking forward to the next issue, looking forward to seeing how it's going, and I'm really pleased that the number of subscribers I'm getting is continuing to grow. The feedback I get from people is really great, so I'm hoping that, you know, I feel like I'm finding a groove with the magazine, and I'm just hoping that the numbers will continue to grow and get to a point where I can really like step up the game. I'm on a mission to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm nearly at 500 subscribers already. I'm endlessly grateful to my patrons. Let me just give a shout out to my patrons here. Without their support, I'm just so grateful for them being willing to support the magazine in the ways that they do. Here's a big list of all their names. Look at those lovely, lovely people. I'm really grateful to them. So thank you for that. But yeah, it's been great fun. And now we roll on to the next issue and I can't wait. And then the other thing I've been doing, I've been watching videos of a YouTube channel called Income School. It's a couple of guys from Idaho who set up a bunch of niche websites and are doing really well. And what I love about them is that they've got a really no-nonsense approach to helping you understand what makes a successful niche website. Mr. XStitch is a niche website and the niche is contemporary embroidery and needlecraft, but it's almost like that's such a broad niche that over the 10 years I've been running it, things have gotten a little bit muddied and it doesn't necessarily rank as well in search engines as I might like. What I'm starting to realise, and I think this is true with a lot of businesses, is that Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, those sorts of things are starting to be a diminishing return. The way Facebook's algorithms work, their need to get your money to support their profits because they're a publicly listed company, it all means that the good old days of Facebook are kind of gone, and that you can post a message onto your Facebook page, your fan page or whatever, and it's not going to get as far as it used to. And then when you look at the impact that has if you're running a business, it's quite profound. I did some research and I had a look to see how much traffic I was getting from social media, and it worked out to be like 10 to 15% of all the traffic going to Mr. XStitch came from social media. Now that's not bad, but it doesn't reflect the amount of effort that I've been putting into social media, posting onto the Facebook pages and all those sorts of things. The most important thing you can do with your business if you want it to survive online is to make sure that it ranks well in Google. And the best way to do that is to make sure that your posts, your content is optimized for the right kind of phrases and that you use tools to enable you to do that. A great example, recently I re-optimized a post about the artist Orly Kogan on Mr. XStitch. Now, this post had come out in 2010. It was a good post, showed her work. Orly's a fantastic artist. I would definitely encourage you to check her out if you haven't seen her. The post could not be found in Google rankings, not at all. I looked, the only thing from Mr. XStitch was one of the images which was optimized at the time, and that's pants. And I got like 4,000 posts on the website, and with that kind of ranking so poorly, it's just horrible. It's just complete waste of time. I stand no chance of getting a well-known website by that token. So I went through, and I've got a plugin for WordPress called Squirrely. I went through and optimized that post, reposted it, and then checked a fortnight after I posted it, and it's on the second page of Google, which is amazing. It's gone from nowhere on Google to the second page on Google. Now, I'm now going through a process of pruning out lots of the blog posts from Mr. XStitch that have what's called a high bounce rate. Now, bear with me on this one. If I've got a post and it says, look at this funny cross stitch, and that's all it says, people will look at it and they'll go away inside of 30 seconds because it's really quick and easy to look at. And there are so many posts on Mr. XStitch that like that. Virtually all of the Stitchgasm posts have been like, hey, look at that, and that's been it. The problem is Google's algorithmic robots, they don't know that somebody's enjoyed that content. They just think that somebody looked at that thing and came off again really quickly and probably didn't find what they were looking for. And as a consequence, they go, well, that's not a very good website. Because what Google want is they want to know that if you're having a heart attack and you type in, I'm having a heart attack, you're going to get taken to a website that is of value. So basically, if people spend a lot of time on your site, Google's going to feel like they must be getting value, and therefore it's going to improve its rankings. Now, that's the issue that I've been facing, and so now I'm going through a process of getting rid of lots of old blog posts from 2009, 2010, ones that would only take a second or two to read because quite frankly nobody's read them in years anyway. By looking at the great content we've got with our different columns on needle felting, machine embroidery, quilting, and optimizing those posts to make sure that they feature the names of the artists and they work really well in promoting those artists or those techniques, then hopefully we can kind of raise everything and try and get the Mr. XStitch traffic up. Because more traffic means more people coming to your newsletter, means more people kind of clicking on the adverts you've put in, means more income, and means more sustainability. I could spend time and money growing my audience on Facebook. I'm well aware of some sites that do very similar things to me who've got great audiences on Facebook. However, those audiences are just on Facebook. And there's a lot of people in the world that don't use Facebook, and at some point people are going to stop using Facebook. So what I'm doing is I'm doubling down on the old school. I'm trying to make sure that my website is easy to find on the internet, because I think that's the thing to do. But God, yeah, 4,000 posts, there's a lot of work to be done. So if I wasn't doing all of these things, like trying to create new content, trying to produce a magazine, trying to be a loving husband and father, I've still now got to go back and prune all of the other stuff as well, try and improve the website. But you know, I'm kind of up for it. The most important thing I've learned in all of this though, referring back to a previous blog post as well, is that I must make sure I get enough sleep. Because sometimes I work until 1 o'clock in the morning because everybody else is asleep and I'm on a roll, but Flora's still going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and too many times of doing that is going to really kick me in the backside. So there's a lot to learn, but I do want to thank the guys at Income School. They've been really useful. I've watched so many of their videos. They're really personable. It's really interesting to just stop and see what they think about niche websites. You know, their websites are things like how to soundproof a room, pontoon boats, recreational vehicles, you know, and what they've done is they found topics that people are interested in but nobody would think about. So that's what I've been searching for. So yeah, that's Income School. They're really great. I think if you've got a website or a particular niche, it's tricky if you're a cross stitcher because the world of cross stitch has many people in it and we're all kind of vying for the same sorts of things. So I know that there are websites that will always outcompete me in terms of cross stitch because they're selling cross stitch kits, you know, they're very focused and stuff. But thankfully Mr. XStitch is such a broad spread that I can hopefully rank quite well for the names of artists and certain other techniques and stuff like that. If you've got a niche website, or indeed if you're like you want to get a side hustle and you're not sure what to do, go and watch some of their videos because they've got a formula for building a website or, you know, putting together a niche blog that doesn't require a ton of work but over the fullness of time might actually have some value. I've got a side hustle, I'm not going to talk about it now, but something that on top of everything else I'm working on because I really want to see if what they're saying makes sense. I've watched their videos and a light kind of switched on and it makes me wish that I'd seen this stuff like 10 years ago so that I could have built Mr. XStitch in the right way. But it's great. They're really easy videos. They make you feel confident that you can do stuff without requiring all the smart SEO tricks and without having to spend money on advertising and those sorts of things. So I heartily recommend them and I do thank the guys for the effort that they've put in so far. I think that'll do. I've been feeling guilty that I haven't spent much time on YouTube lately and I don't want to let you guys down. I'm so grateful to have over 2,000 subscribers. I can't tell you how important it is and how great it is that some of you are finding me and choosing to stick with me. And I promise that in the fullness of time, there will be more content. I've got so many ideas of things I want to do with YouTube. I'm just realizing that at the moment I have to focus on what brings in the bread and butter and make sure that those things are working properly, and then I can carry on and then we can have some fun and I can do technique videos and book reviews and artist profiles and all the things I wanted to do. But thank you for being here, thank you for watching this video. Let me know how you are. I love getting the comments from you guys. I've always got my regulars. It's lovely to hear from you and I hope you're keeping well. Let me know what you're up to, let me know what your side hustles are, let me know if you've got any questions. I look forward to your comments. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for subscribing. I love you very much.